There's no perfect way to start a day than with your beautiful smile. And I know that for a fact because when I start the day without a smile, I don't do very well. So if any of you are like me out there, we just gotta be brave. This is a song from Mahalia Jackson, and it's called It Don't Cost Very Much. Smile when you're happy, and smile when you're sad. Look pleasing when you're mistreated. Be forgiven when you're mad. Be forgiving, someone abused you. The good Lord looks for such. Live right each day and smile on your way. It don't cost very much. It don't cost very much. Just a place, a gentle touch. To give a glass of water to a pilgrim in need of such. Well, you may not be an angel, and you may not go to church, but the good you will do will come on back to you, and it don't cost very much. Help the cripple by the wayside, and help the blind man cross the street. Speak kindly to your neighbor. Speak politely to those you meet. And to the blind man, give him glasses. And to the cripple, give him a crown. And as you do for yourself, you can do for somebody else. And it don't cost very much. It don't cost very much. Just a place, a gentle touch. To give a glass of water to a pilgrim in need of such. Well, you may not be an angel, and you may not go to church, but the good you'll do will come on back to you, and it don't cost very much. Smile when you're happy, and smile when you're sad. Look pleasing when you're mistreated, and be forgiven when you're mad. Be forgiving, someone abused you. The good Lord looks for such. Live right each day and smile on your way. It don't just a place, a gentle touch. To give a glass of water to a pilgrim in need of such. Well, you may not be an angel, and you may not go to church, but the good you will do will come on back to you. Live right each day and smile on your way. As you do for yourself, you can do for somebody else, and it don't cost very much. No, yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Leora and Jay. What an incredible start to our morning. Wow. Good morning, everybody. If you're here for the first time, we're so glad to see you. And first off, we want you to know that Unity of Vancouver is an inclusive spiritual community, and we warmly welcome all people, all faiths, and all lifestyles. I'm Shirley Thompson, and I'm honored to be your host this morning. Now, Reverend Bob is going to guide us in this morning's meditation.
Good morning. Good morning. I'd like for you to know that we are all one here together. And even though the center's not open, the church is wide open and we're ready for you. We're going to meditate. So if you know the drill, but if you just get yourself comfortable, maybe the bottom of your back up against the back of your chair and your shoulders relaxed, and breathing gently in through your nose and out through your mouth is a good idea. But if that's not comfortable for you, in and out both through your nose. When you take a breath in, not a big breath, but a full breath, hold it for maybe 3 or 4 seconds before you let it go. And when you let it go, just let your body relax. Just let the breath flow out of you. And as you do that, find yourself sinking deeper into peace. Deeper and deeper. Deeper, drifting away, leaving behind all thoughts, whatever darknesses may have invaded your life. We're leaving those behind. We're going to take a spiritual vacation. Feel all of the muscles in your body relaxing, becoming like wet spaghetti, just relaxing. And spirit, the great spirit of life, is flowing through you as you drift deeper and deeper into the sea of peace, into the sea of grace. You are loved. You are blessed. You are safe. You are free. Let yourself be loved now by Holy Spirit. Feel the arms around you. You are loved, so loved. You are being blessed by Great Spirit. You are completely protected. And you are safe here in the arms of and the heart of Holy Spirit that is you and that loves you with all the power of the universe flowing through you. And you are now adrift on the river of grace, flowing gently along, surrounded by beauty and love. Down the river you go. It's not water, it's pure grace, this river. And the grace is cradling you, holding you, supporting you. Until you come to the mouth of the open sea, which is all grace. The grace of the one living Holy Spirit, the grace of love. And you drift out onto that sea of grace and feel the enormity of the love and the protection welling up around you. And you are at home now. Around you, there are others. Many of them have gone to the other side and no longer have bodies. But they are here around you all the time. Through day and night, when you're in joy or when you're in sadness. They surround you and they hold you in their light. They hold you in their love. Be at peace now and know that you're home. And in a little while, you will hear the beautiful, beautiful music of Leora and Jay. Until then, just stay in this sea of grace. And even when they awaken you from this grace, bring yourself back to the sanctuary as this being that you are right now, free and pure and completely loved.
There's a new church on the horizon, made of light, not of stone, calling out to all creation, you are not alone. Lions and lambs, saints and sinners, best of friends, enemies, woman and man, losers and winners, they are all in you and me. We are one are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part of one heart. Out in the cold, there are faces hidden by the wind and the rain. Hold out your hands, someone will take it and bring you home again. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part of one heart. Around the world today, all fires are burning. Tears are falling from the sky, and still the world keeps turning. We are one heart, one soul, one dream we share together. We are all a part. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part. Yes, we are all a part. We are all a part of one heart.
There will be a short Q&A at the end of the talk, and Reverend Bob encourages and welcomes you to put any questions that occur to you into the chat window and is very happy to answer them at the end of the talk.
Good morning. It's so good to see you, and it's so good to be with you. Today, we've got a lot to talk about. Boy, this is a pretty heavy subject. Is God a myth? For thousands of years, we humans have been taught that we must either believe in the religious myths or be spiritually cast out from the garden and lost for eternity. We would choose or chose not to believe those myths. We're considered sinners and we're shunned by the believers of God, the true believers of the Creator. So the question, is God a myth? Well, which God are we talking about? Because gods have been identified as humans, or by human beings for at least 60,000 years. At least 60,000 years we've been seeing gods. And the Encyclopedia of Gods currently offers a concise information on more than 2,500 non-Hindu gods and states that there are more than 33 million Hindu gods. Before 300 AD, the Greeks and the Romans and the Egyptians, they all believed in many gods. Even Catholicism has many gods. Not only the Trinity, but hundreds of saints and martyrs and angels whom people pray to. Moses, the leader and lawgiver of the people of Israel. And keep in mind that the Christianity, and I love Christianity, it may sound like I'm putting Christianity down. Christianity has been good for me, but Christianity has to be based on Christness, not on guilt and shame. And it came from the Jewish religion because Jesus was a Jew. He was never a Christian. And Moses, the leader and lawgiver to the people of Israel, went through a metamorphosis during his time in the Sinai desert, which was a near-death experience or a near-death-like experience. Moses saw and heard God in the burning bush, from which he reached a higher level of consciousness. From being a simple shepherd, he turned into a prophet and the leader, the charismatic leader of his people. Twice, he spent 40 days and 40 nights on Mount Sinai without food or water. When he came down in the last descent, he brought with him the 10 commandments carved in stone. And you know, the first one of those commandments, I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not have strange gods before me. I'm the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not have strange gods before me. Now, who said that? Who said that? A tall, beautiful guy with the long hair and a beard and dressed in a wonderful robe with his hands reaching out in supplication? Or was it a burning bush? Or was it nature? The God the original Americans called Great Spirit manifests as nature in its all-flowing forms. Can we see that the experience of Moses in his wilderness with the burning bush is very much like the experience of the native elders? His first commandment, I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt not have strange gods before me. Are we being directed here to pay attention to truth and not myths? When he says strange God, is he talking maybe about the strange God that many people are worshiping now that's a myth, that's not a God? And what will happen if I do make something more important than the flowing wisdom of nature? If that's my God, the flowing nature of wisdom, what happens if I turn away from that God, that's the true God, and I have a false God like money or sex or some other idolatry before that? What if I turn away from that? Do I go to hell? Do I burn forever and ever in hell? Well, the Jews didn't believe in hell, don't believe in hell. And this came from the Jewish religion. And we already know the answer to that when we turn away from nature, to the flow of what's right and what's good and what's in us. We already know what happens. We fall out of grace. And then our lives become harder and less fruitful because we've fallen out of grace. The God of Abraham, the founder of Judaism and Christianity, has been around for 4,000 years. The First Nation people of the Americas lived here for 20,000 years before the white man came. The Jewish religion is 4,000 years old. Christianity is 2,000 years old. Native spirituality was here for 18,000 years before the birth of Jesus the Christ. But of course, those natives with their 18,000-year-old spiritual practice of living well with nature, which was their mother and their father, were to us uneducated savages whom we had to save with our smallpox and our prison schools and our religion. But we had to save them because they were all going to go to hell. Just think, according to Christian teachings, 18,000 years of native people must surely have gone to hell because they had never accepted Jesus as their savior. Yet those native people were far from uneducated. You see, one of society's greatest problems is that it sees wisdom and intelligence as the product of schooling. But schooling and education are not the same thing. Those natives lived in the garden. They didn't in 20,000 years build a gun or an atom bomb. Spiritually, they saw the sacredness in all things. Whenever they fell from grace, sacred way of nature, their lives simply fell apart. In the Americas, the Sioux Indians called that great spirit Taku, Wakan, Skan, which roughly translates into something holy in motion, something holy in movement. They don't say what it is. They don't say what it could be in a rock, could be in a stream, could be in the sky, something holy. The Ojibwe people prayed to Great Spirit in this way. See if you think this compares at all to the Lord's Prayer or to the 23rd Psalm. It sounds like this: O Great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds and whose breath gives life to everyone, hear me. I come to you as one of your many children. I am weak, I am small, I need your wisdom and your strength. Let me walk in beauty and make my eyes ever behold the red and purple sunsets. Make my hands respect the things you have made, and make my ears sharp so I may hear your voice. Make me wise so that I may understand what you've taught my people and the lessons you have hidden in each leaf and each rock. I ask for wisdom and strength, not to be superior to my brothers, but to be able to fight my greatest enemy, myself. Make me ever ready to come before you with clean hands and a straight eye. So as life fades away as a fading sunset, my spirit may come to you without shame. Isn't this very like the 23rd Psalm that says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want? 7 grandfathers of the natives have passed down principles for living that might also be compared to the 10 Commandments. Number 1 is respect. Hold them in great regard, your friends. Don't hold them in low regard. Love. I must think well of my friends and love myself before I love someone else who is different, so that I may bring them, him or her, inside of my life. Truth. I must look at myself before I judge the way someone walks along. Bravery. Right now, I hold firm thoughts and strongly stand when I don't know what will happen next. Wisdom. I'm able to speak well and take well what someone says, to correctly interpret others' ideas and others' thoughts. Generosity. I have the ability to give away and distribute what I have. That's called standing together, transferring, responding to the needs of others. Humility. That's the last of them. I must humble myself to my fellow humans in the very best way I can and walk with him or her. How much are these like the 10 Commandments? Do you know that we white-skinned people who have many times saw ourselves to be superior, our ancestors, our own ancestors, were as dark-skinned as any of the natives, and they lived as natives out on the plains for almost 200,000 years. Since that time, we've been following ancient myths about God, instead of allowing the God around us and within us to guide us and love us and protect us. In our human family, we've had many different ideas about God and gods. And we go to war against those who don't believe as we do. So far, there have been 195 million, 35,000 deaths in religious wars, because people didn't agree about who and what God is. I like this little quote that says, they sent forth men to battle, but no such men return. And home to claim their welcome came ashes in an urn. Joseph Campbell said, God is a metaphor for that which transcends all levels of intellectual thought. It's as simple as that. Let me state it again. God is a metaphor for that which transcends all levels of intellectual thought. It's as simple as that. So we can't think about God and come up with God. We have to be with God. Thinking doesn't work. Clarence Darrow said, the fear of God is not the beginning of wisdom. The fear of God is the death of wisdom. So let us imagine for a moment that the Great Spirit that is living and moving in everything, as everything, is guiding, loving, and protecting us at every moment of our lives. And that all we have to do is surrender to what is, to I am. How would our lives change then if we were to do that? How would our lives change?
Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Melt me and mold me, fill me and use me. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Fall afresh on me. Spirit of the living God, move among us all. Spirit of the living God, move among us all. Humble, caring, selfless, sharing. Spirit of the living God, fill our lives with love. Fill our lives with love. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Melt me and mold me, fill me and use me. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Oh, great Spirit of the living God, move among us all. Spirit of the living God, move among us all. With humble, caring, and selfless sharing. Spirit of the living God, fill our lives with love and fall afresh on me. Spirit of the living fall afresh on me.
Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Oh, man, that is, see, that's the thing, is that we can't know God through our intellect. What Leora and Jay did is they translated that into a new language. They translated God into a new language called music or art, because we can't get it with our minds. Divine Spirit, divine presence, Holy Spirit, creator, love, intelligent energy, God, sacred being, eternal Father, Mother, All of those are descriptions of something, but the description of something is not the thing it describes, is it? If I say that's a tree, that you can call it a tree. You have hundreds of different languages. Everybody will look at it and say a different word, but those words aren't the tree. We can't describe the tree because the tree is the presence of God. Every living thing, everything in the world is living is the presence of God. Millions of people who say the word God are talking about different images, but it doesn't make any difference what they say. It's just not the same. Only music, art, and sometimes poetry can capture the essence of a thing that is truth, that is God in it. Like a tree. Joyce Kilmer wrote a poem about trees. I think you've heard it. I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree. The tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the sweet earth's flowing breast. The tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray. A tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. Isn't that beautiful? See, that's what Leora and Jay were just doing. They're reaching beyond the intellect. Let's look for just a minute at science and spirituality. Every physical and non-physical thing in existence travels in waves. Did you know that? Those of you who've been taking classes with me, this is redundant for you, but most people don't know that everything that you're looking at in the room you're sitting in is traveling and is waves. And those waves become particles when you think about them, when you notice them, when you observe them, they become particles. And everything in your world that you see, you're observing is waves turned into particles. Everything. If the entire human race, if all the space was taken out of every person on the planet, just to give you an idea of how much that grace, those waves, that space is. If you took all the people on the planet and condensed them, took all of the space out from them and condensed them all down, they'd be the size of a sugar cube. That's how much actual matter there is. The rest of us is God. The rest of us is pure space. So your body is space, is God. And Ravi Shankar, a great musician and thinker, said that when you see yourself as a wave, your body will become the eccentric body. It'll acquire sweetness in the words that flow from your tongue. Whatever you hear, you'll take it in a positive way, and you'll hear good only. And in this limited way, with this limited mind, you'll start to experience the vast, endless sky. This, he said, is the knowledge, which is quantum physics. So I'd like for us to just think for a moment about what we've been doing with our lives up until today, up until this moment. If we understand that we are children of God, you can use that metaphor if you want to. We're not really children of God. We're incarnations of God. And God isn't a person, isn't a man or a woman or a person at all, except all persons is God. And all trees is God. And all the galaxies is God. And all that is held together by a presence, by a mind, by a creative intelligence. Even the great physicists who work with subatomic particles understand that there is an intelligence, a wisdom that guides all of that. And you and I, when I meditate sometimes, I go out of my body and I just go into the room and I look back at this little guy sitting in a chair. And I see that he thinks he's really something. He's important, and he's got things to do. And by golly, I'm got real things. And I look at him and I think he doesn't realize that he's part of the river, and the river is flowing to the sea. And if he just let go and just let the power of love flow through him, then he would just follow the design that makes him unique and individual, that makes you unique and individual, the design with which you were created. There never has been, there never will be another you. And you are the river flowing through you right now. It's the river of grace. It's the river of God. It's the river that the Native Americans knew so well before we infected them with our other religions. There is one God, one powerful God, not a small God, a powerful God, an all-powerful being. And we can't say the word God and know it. We can't say the word Great Spirit and know it. We have to become it. We have to fall into it and let it guide us through meditation and through prayers. First, we must stop trying to figure out God, because it simply is I am. When Moses said, I'm going to go down, okay, and do what you say, I'm going to tell the Pharaoh to let my people go. And the Pharaoh's going to say, why should I do it? Because you say. And the Pharaoh said, or Moses said, then I'll tell him that I was sent. And then who shall I tell him sent me? And God said, I am. Tell him I am sent you. See, it's I am. It's not even, he doesn't even give himself a name or itself a name. It's I am. I'm going to tell him a burning bush sent you. So, we're going to, by meditation and reading, we find that the only proper name that can possibly be is love. Because it's the power of the universe. That's the force, that's the power that holds all things together. And through classes, and through reading, and through meditation, and through listening to beautiful music, and being in art, and being a creator, you become one with this flowing great spirit of life that we eternally are flowing with. And next week, we're going to dig deep into the myths and the truths of spirituality and quantum physics. We're going to see clearly how nature, in fact, is God. And please remember that joy is the presence of God, and love is the presence of God. And you are an incarnation of God, and you are the presence of God. And you and I together are God. And I am love, and you are love, and I am loving you.
A 1,000 years, 1,000 more, 1,000 times 1,000,000 doors to eternity. I have lived 1,000 lives, 1,000 times, an endless turning stairway climbs to a tower of souls. And if it takes 1,000 years, 1,000 wars, the towers rise to numberless floors in space. I could shed 1,000,000 tears, 1,000,000 breaths, 1,000,000 names, but only one truth to face. 1,000,000 roads, 1,000,000 fears, 1,000,000 sun, 10,000,000 years of uncertainty. I could speak 1,000,000 lies, 1,000,000 songs, 1,000,000 rights, 1,000,000 wrongs in this balance of time. But if there was a single truth, a single light, a single touch of grace. Then following this single point, this single flame, this single haunted memory of your face, I still want you. I still want you. A thousand times the mysteries unfold themselves like galaxies in my head. I may be numberless, I may be innocent, I may know many things, I may be ignorant, or I could ride with kings and conquer many lands, or win this world at cards and let it slip my hands. I could be cannon food, destroyed 1,000 times, reborn as fortune's child to judge another's crimes, or wear this pilgrim's cloak, or be a common thief. I've kept this single faith, I have what one believe. I still love you. I still want you. 1,000 times the mysteries unfold themselves like galaxies in my head. On and on the mysteries unwind themselves, eternity still unsaid, till you love me, until you love me, until you love me, until you love me.
I am so touched. I am so deeply, deeply moved and touched by the beauty of your music. I am. Thank you so much for being with us and helping us with this service. You guys are just amazing. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you for inviting us to put our good gifts to good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go on, Shirley is going to talk to you for just a minute, but somebody asked for me to repeat, if I would, the description of God. And I think you might have meant that what I said right at the last is that love is the presence of God, and you are an incarnation of God, and joy is the presence of God. You are the presence of God. And if you can be in love and joy is very different than happiness. Happiness is temporary, and happiness is a reaction to something that's happening. Joy is a state of being, of knowing, no matter how much sorrow or what else goes on deep inside of me, there is a presence that is the sunlight, and that's God. Okay, thank you.
And a couple of people have asked, Bob, is it possible to get a copy of that prayer? Would it be possible, for instance, to put it on the Unity website?
Yes,
And-
and we're talking about the prayer to Great Spirit from the Ojibwe Indians.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. We can put that on the website. Yes.
Great. And one of the questions we have is, could you repeat that definition of God, please? You talked about a metaphor. God is a metaphor that transcends all intellectual thought, I believe you
Oh,
said.
yes, that's right. That quotation came from, let me see if I can get that back up and look at it. I had it. Joseph Campbell, who's certainly one of my heroes. You know, Joseph Campbell is the guy who coined the phrase "follow your bliss," which I try to really remember. And that's what we're talking about today, is that because bliss is the flowing grace of God. Joseph Campbell said, God is a metaphor for that which transcends all levels of intellectual thought. It's as simple as that. God is a metaphor that transcends all levels of intellectual thought. And he said it's as simple as that.
Thank you, Bob.
Sure.
Now, our next question, I have to keep going down here. Let's see. Okay, I don't have another question. I missed something, I think. But anyway, another question is, what does it mean being in the flow of life?
Well, gosh, I'm really glad you asked that question. I really am, because I think that that's maybe the most important thing that I've learned in my long life, with many experiences of almost every kind, is that there is a river running through here. There is a river of grace, of intelligence, of wisdom. And when I say it's a river, it's moving. Everything is moving. Everything is in motion. Nothing is still. There's no such thing as a static anything. Everything is in motion. Everything is moving. And there's if you see it as a river running through your life, you either can get in the river, and then if you get in the river, you become one with the river, and you become the river. And then you are powerful and you are in grace. If you stand on the bank and look at the river, that's people talking about God. About, that's a preposition that means around, the outside of, about. Talking about God and being God are two different things. If you get in the river and flow with the river, then you know that you are one with God. Didn't Jesus say over and over again, I and the Father are one? And that's what he was talking about. He was in the river as the river. He knew that that you have to trust. He said, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can say to that mountain over there, move. He's talking about how powerful you are, but you're not powerful standing on the bank. You're powerful when you get in the river. And then you learn how powerful you are. And then you learn that you're a healer and a guide, and that you have purpose in your life, and that you are a unique individual that is being guided along your own trail, your own path. That's the river. How do you get into that? Boy, meditation is, you've got to be able to get out of your thinking mind, your intellectual judgment mind. You've got to be able to get out of that. And the only way you can do that is through meditation. And meditation is easy. It is so easy. It's a lot easier than what we do all day long thinking. You just stop thinking. And there's a lot of great teachers of meditation. And we teach meditation here. So meditate and take classes, the classes that cause you to think deeper about reality. Thank you for your question.
And another question, another interesting one. Some people say you may encounter evil spirit during meditation. Is that true?
Yeah, evil spirits are just thoughts. They're boy, all of the religions and the cults have really poisoned our social atmosphere with these ideas of devils and Satans and evil spirits and that stuff. That doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. Does that mean that people don't do evil things? Oh, yes, people do evil things. Hitler did evil things. There's a lot of people doing evil things. They are sick. They are sick. They aren't in the river. They aren't living in grace. They feel cast out and they're reacting with violence and with ugliness. But they're not evil spirits. They're just sick. They're just emotionally, mentally crippled. And yes, they're dangerous, but they're not evil spirits. And there is no evil spirit. There is no evil anywhere in any universe more powerful than love. Let me remind you that Gandhi, when Gandhi was in India, he's this little short, dark-skinned guy wearing this little loincloth thing and just a little skinny, bald guy. But he knew the power of love. He called it ahimsa, non-violent resistance, and the evil that was in his country. Soldiers and police taking over the Indian people and running them and making them buy their goods from another country instead of making their own goods. It was, and one little skinny guy is going to change that? He did. He saved millions and millions and millions and millions of people with love, just with love and acceptance, just with allowing people, with his passive resistance, allowing people to see that there were other decisions that they could make. So he ended it. And the most powerful at that time military force in the world was sent back home. And India became its own country. Love is a force. It's the power of the universe. It's what makes things work. It's what makes clocks tick and hearts beat. And planets circle their suns. It's love. It's just power. It's not an emotional something. It's power. But you have to do it with a complete heart of dedication and commitment to knowing that there's no person anywhere that's lower than me or less than me. I reach out with my heart and touch every single person. And if I see someone who seems to be less than me, maybe this person's dirty and drunk or drugged and a lost kind of soul, if I feel at all a rejection in me, then I must go to that person and love them so that I break that barrier between us. Because there's no limit to what God is. There's no person, there's no tree, there's no frog, there's no snail, there's no slug, there's no squirrel, there's no elk, there's no being, there's no rock anywhere, ever, anywhere that's not God. And whatever I reject within me as a part of me.
Well, that looks like all our questions for today. Some very profound ones.
Go in peace, my dear family. Go in peace and go with God and be the person that you came here to be, that you were meant to be.
Thank you, Bob, as always, for your wisdom and your perspectives that you share with us. I love that you're so practical and down to earth and make it easy for me anyway, to understand these things. And I'm so grateful. So, and I'm sure everyone else is. So thank you. We love you.
Thank you, Shirley.
And of course, we have our breakout rooms and prayers with the chaplains in private coming up. But let's join Reverend Bob in our prayer for protection.
Will you remember that this prayer was actually coined for soldiers who were in the trenches fighting in one of those crazy wars that we've brought about. Right now we're in wars. We're in political wars. We're in wars against diseases, and we have to just stop fighting, start surrendering and letting the power of God flow through us. And it's in this prayer, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us such that wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Now, let's join Leora and Jay for the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
So beautiful.
Blessings, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. And next up are our breakout room discussions and prayer chaplain private sessions. If you're not going to participate, please click the red Leave Meeting button, which helps us put the right number of people in each room. And if you've been watching on YouTube and enjoyed the talk, please click the thumbs up. We also invite you to join the breakout session by clicking the Zoom links in your YouTube chat window. Either way, we're glad you were able to attend and look forward to seeing you next week.